Hey everyone, my name is Nick Walden Poublon. I'm the former first vice chair of this party, and it was one of the proudest things that I did. One of the things that I'm very proud of. I get asked two questions, and they primarily are, where did you come from and where are you going? And so I thought that's where I would kind of do quickly today. I'm from a small town. I'm from rural Oregon. I don't have to learn how to talk to rural Oregonians because I have always been a rural Oregonian. I tell people that Sandy is the biggest city I've ever lived in, and I don't even live inside the city limits. So I can't vote for mayor, which really irritates me. So I'm a small town Oregonian. I put myself through college, and in the middle of something very big. It was my first week of grad school, and many of you probably heard this story, so I'll tell it quickly. But my first week of grad school, I was diagnosed with a tumor at the base of my brain, and everything turned upside down. This time when I thought I was going to really focus on myself and my education, and I was really going to discover myself, I was facing these huge medical bills and complicated situations and multiple doctors telling me multiple things. And the one thing I discovered really quickly was that the insurance that Portland State University, which I love, was giving or providing at the time was really terrible. And I went to the administration and said, look, I'm not going to be able to survive this brain tumor and this insurance and still be a student. I can't do all three. And they said, what you do is you start an advisory board. And I thought, geez, that's not the news I wanted. I didn't, you think you go to school, you deal with the brain tumor, you get home, and then you got to start an advisory board. So I did, though. I went out that week and I found 7 students who had medical issues that were not similar to mine, but had different issues from across the spectrum. And we got together, a ragtag group of us, and we started asking questions. Why is it that we have a secondary billing company? You guys, the insurance was so bad that you had to pay full price for your prescription up front, and then you sent the receipt off to Idaho, and in 6 weeks they would send you your cash back in a check. It was that bad. And at any given time, as someone who was trying to survive a pituitary tumor, I had $2,000 sitting in Idaho waiting for it to come back to me. We asked questions. We held open forums. We got students involved. Students came up and told us about their situations. And within 3 months, we fired United Health Insurance. Got them out of PSU. And we negotiated health insurance for 28,000 students for the first time in PSU's history ourselves. And that meant that trans health insurance was added in 2007, y'all, when people weren't talking about this. But full trans health insurance was fully covered by the PSU medical insurance in 2007. When it came time for me to graduate, the university said, wait a minute, you can't go. They opened this book with different titles in it. And there was really seriously one called Mariner. And we were like flipping through it, trying to figure out what is the title that I'm going to have. And they couldn't figure out one, so they just called me student health advisor and an advocate. And I went to work for 10 more years, making sure that no one had to start an advisory board to get the health insurance to work for them, making sure that the insurance stayed true to what we originally had wanted it to do, because every year that went by, there was this itch to make it less coverage in order to keep the price down. And that cycle starts back up again, and we end up right back where we are. Shortly before the pandemic, I left Portland State University to become the drug and alcohol prevention specialist for the city of Sandy through Ant Farm. And that was a very rewarding experience. And also at the same time, I was moonlighting as the legislative assistant to the last Democrat who held the office in 52. So I was working about 70, 80 hours a week, and that was not sustainable. So we did it for a while, and then it became clear to me when the district was redrawn that it was going to be my turn to run next. And so I ran in 2024. Ran in 2024 against someone who was a newer member of the House, but hadn't held any significant positions. But shortly after I filed to run against him, he became the minority leader, which was not my luck. Somebody has to run against the minority leader in Salem, and it was me. He raised over $1 million. We raised a little over $110,000. That gives you some idea of what he was spending against us. And still he won by only 3 points or 1,300 votes. I did not stop running after that day. And we came through that night, the first results came back. And I think my husband was kind of dubious about this entire thing, honestly, to that point. And when the numbers came back and we were ahead in the first group of numbers, he turned to me and said, I realize why you did this. And I don't think I could look at people in the face and tell them that I heard them. and that I saw them and I understood them, and then not take this opportunity to run again when there's a chance to represent them. The guy who I was running against, Jeff Helfrich, has decided to run for Senate, has announced that he will run for Senate in Senate 26. So he will not be running in House District 52, which means that it is now an open seat, which is good. That means he's still a problem, but he's not my problem, right? And so where am I going? I think that someone should be at the table having a discussion when we're looking at Medicaid cuts that we're looking at. Somebody should be at the table who has been on the table. And I appreciate all the work that they do on the healthcare committee in Salem. I appreciate it. But they're doctors, they're nurses, optometrists. They are people who have never worried about the other side of the insurance game. And I think somebody who has really worried about where my insurance is coming from, who has really worried about how I'm going to pay my medical debts, should be at the table and be part of that discussion when we're talking about who wins and who loses as far as healthcare goes. Right now I serve as the chair of the healthcare caucus for the Democratic Party of Oregon. Thank you. We're about to meet in Monmouth next weekend. I'm excited. And then I also joined the board of directors for Healthcare for All Oregon. And they've made me their state fundraising chair. So I'm working with them right now. And in that capacity, it's something I'm very proud of. So, I mean, the t-shirt kind of gave it away, and so did Chris. I'm gonna run again in House District 52. I believe that we can really win this time. There are people who are joining onto the campaign who were dubious about us last time, quite frankly, because it looked like it was going to be a big, they expected me to be 10 points down. And when they did a poll, like 2 weeks before, they found out that it was looking like we were 5 points down, and then as we got closer and closer, the number shrank. That got a lot of people on our side that weren't paying attention to us before. My team is going to stay the same. My campaign manager is going to stay the same. Roland Sarazan is going to be doing all the pictures and videography. And so I'm looking forward to this race. The one thing that you can do, two things that you can do, I'd be a bad politician if I didn't do this more. Two things that you could do. You can volunteer. I was telling someone, we won Hood River. The Dows was purple. We lost in Clackamas and Multnomah County. That can't happen again. So I need your help in Clackamas County, making sure that we knock on doors, that we volunteer. Right now, people are watching, to make sure that I'm getting small donors from my area, from Clackamas County, from my district. Your small donations matter right now because they're making to see if I can convert people to dollars. And then they will come in and give me money later on. It's a ridiculous system, but that's the way that it works. And so right now, if you can write a check, if you can give me money to the campaign, the website is NWP, my initials, for Oregon.com. Any donation that you can make is great. You can sign up to volunteer there. I really believe that we're headed to Salem this time, and I really believe that I'm going to get a seat at that table. Thank you, guys.